anybody who has that kind of incompatible aspect to themselves, that I'm totally drawn to. I'm drawn to in life, but I'm also drawn to it in the show because there's so much treasure in that nuance. You just have to know the right questions to ask.
This is Meredith for Real, the Curious Introvert, and I'm Meredith. I explore the questions people think but don't ask out loud, either because they're taboo or thanks to cultural hypnosis. My mission, and yours if you choose to accept it, is to inspire curiosity by exploring the nuance and paradox of our world. Each episode is different, so bring your ADD and your earbuds and have a look around. Hey Curiositors, it's me, Meredith. My hope for this episode is to mix things up a little bit by having a guest host interview me, and I don't trust just anyone for that kind of job. Adam has been my podcasting coach since October of 2021, so not only did I feel like he understood me enough to do a great interview, but I also felt confident that the vibe was right. So if you've ever wondered about my podcasting process or some of the random aspects of my life, like the weird thing I made everyone do when they came to my house when I was a kid, or how I met my husband, this episode is for you. If you could care less about those things, I am real sorry. Thanks for sticking around even this much. If you do end up liking this episode, though, you'll also like the episode where my friend Chris Poor interviews me, and we talk about a strip club funeral and what it means to be an authentic paradox. That's episode 112. As always, I am so thankful for you pressing play today. It's not easy growing a show that literally defies the algorithm, but all of you make it possible. Remember, if you think of someone while listening, share this episode with that person. It helps me grow the show. And if you're new here, hi. This might be kind of a strange episode to kick things off with, but here we are. Around here, we press play to get curious, disrupt the algorithm, and grow into better humans. We talk about everything from death to dating. So bring your ADD and your earbuds and have a look around. There's no specific order to listen to episodes. All right, enjoy the show. Over the last 3 years, I've interviewed over 150 people. I've learned a lot, made a lot of friends, and accidentally created a new tradition. Each year, I've had a guest host flip the tables and interview me. And this year, I couldn't think of anyone better than my podcast coach. After owning a gym, he launched into the world of podcasting. And over the last 7 years, he's produced 3 podcasts with his health show ranking in the top 20 health shows on Apple Podcasts. Now, he coaches other podcasters on how to love their podcast like a hobby and treat it like a business. Today, we're going to talk about my podcast journey and, well, I'm not totally sure. I'm not nervous at all. Full-time podcaster, fuller-time dad, the coach, the voice, Adam Schaeuble.
Oh my, Meredith, my goodness, what an intro. I'm so excited to be here. It's an honor to be in like the Rolodex of all the people that have been on your show. I can't wait to turn the tables because I have so many weird things to ask you about.
Excellent. Let's get our weird on. This will be good.
Okay. All right. So I'm officially taking over now for everybody that's listening in. So I've gotten to know Meredith over the last year or so here, and I listened to the show. And I know that there are certain things that haven't come out in full Meredith form yet. So hopefully we can extract a little bit of full throttle Meredith for this episode is one of my goals. But also, of course, we're going to talk about the show a little bit. But before we talk about podcasting, I want to know about young Meredith a little bit.
Oh, dear.
So I need to know a story that is a young Meredith story that kind of relates to who you are today. So like for me, for example, like when I was 6 years old, I started a homemade card, like holiday card business. And I started recruiting my buddies in the neighborhood to like sell them. That relates to me now as an entrepreneur. So do you have a young Meredith story that relates to who you are today?
I do. I was feeling very frightful there at first with that question, but I do. So I have been obsessed with the ocean from probably day one of my little life. And I lived in Nebraska, which, in case you missed it, is in the center of the United States of America.
Sweet waves in Nebraska.
They're so sweet. And I would come to the Florida Panhandle every year to visit my family during summer and do all my ocean stuff then. I would collect a lot of seashells and just was obsessed with that sort of environment. When I would go back home, I would still think about them, and I would put all my seashells out along the walls of my room, really like as though they were under glass. And then I love to draw, and I would draw all ocean stuff. We had in the encyclopedia, but I don't think we had every letter. I'm pretty sure we didn't have every letter. We definitely had F because I drew a lot of fish. And so I would draw these fish, and there was like the scientific photo of the fish, not a children's book. And they're pretty good drawings for, a second grader or however old I was. And so I had pictures like next to each other all along my wall of the fish, the seashells below. And anytime my mom had someone come over, I would grab their hand and drag them back to my room. You know how kids do that. And I would give them the museum tour. Yes. Of the Marine Biology Museum. And I would show them all the seashells and all the fish and the names of the fish, and would totally like nerd out. And that explains a lot about me.
And everybody's like, does she realize she lives in Nebraska?
Yeah. In fact, when I moved from Nebraska to Florida, people were like, oh, you're moving back to Florida? I'm like, bitch, we went to kindergarten together. What you talking about? Like, I'm from here. But I guess I've always meant to come here. So
what would 10-year-old Meredith think of adult Meredith now that we're kind of in this reminiscing mode? So 10-year-old Meredith looking at adult Meredith now, does she think she's cool? Does she think she's totally weird? Like, is she proud? Is she embarrassed? What's 10-year-old Meredith thinking?
I think she's horrified because 10-year-old Meredith was very anxiety filled. And so I think 10-year-old Meredith would be like, wouldn't recognize 40-year-old Meredith. Like, she would go, why you do that on camera? What? You talk with people? What? You make decisions? What? I was just so afraid of like everything as a 10-year-old, which is crazy because I was equally curious and equally afraid. It was an odd place to be in. I played with my dog a lot because, all the social anxiety, I guess. It was just easier to play with my dog and talk to animals, which I also thought I did. Yeah. So she'd probably be afraid, like terrified, and not recognize me. But maybe there'd be some admiration in there. One can hope.
Yeah. I bet 10-year-old Meredith was pretty cool, other than talking to your dog and, all that stuff.
And making you go through my museum.
The old Fido got a lot of tours of the fish museum back in the day.
Yep.
So, all right, let's dig into podcasting a little bit. Obviously, you've got a great run going with your show. You've got a lot of people really fully entertained by the content that you put out week after week after week. What was your main goal of launching this show? Like right from the jump, what was your main driving force behind it?
I think it was two things. One was there was no goal, which is very unlike me. I'm kind of like a blueprint follower kind of person. And it just felt intuitive. Like it felt drawn to it. Do you ever have like an idea or just maybe an interest in you and you just can't shake it? Like it just follows you everywhere, not just in your head, like not just cerebral, but like more visceral in your body. You just can't get rid of it. Like you keep going back to that one thing. And that's how podcasting was. I just kept going back to it, which was weird because I had just started to listen to podcasts. But as I listened to them, the second thing that I realized was definitely for the interviewer ones, that the interviewer was curious and they were asking good questions when they really listened to their guest. Of course, we know podcasters sometimes don't, but most of them were, right? And I began to realize how little that happens in real life. And so I really wanted to make something that allowed people to kind of get inspired to be more curious, like their kid self. I mean, if you ever met a 5-year-old, like it's questions for days. And my husband will argue that it's still questions for days living with me. But I think if we can help people be more curious and not just wait their turn to talk, then the world would be a better place. So that was really a big piece of the pie for my inspiration to start the show is don't judge, listen. You might learn something or you'll just be entertained, but you don't have to listening is not aligning. Just because you listen to someone or you read something they wrote doesn't mean you're aligned with them for life. It's not a marriage. So yeah, curiosity.
I love that. Stop waiting for your turn to talk and actually listen. That's a dose of reality that I think we could all swallow and absorb into our daily regimen right there. That's huge. And I love how you started just from a place of curiosity, a place of personal getting outside of the boxedness, I'll call it, just putting yourself out there and sharpening the saw a little bit. So what shows were you listening to that really turned you on to the medium of podcasting? What interviewers do you really like?
Yeah, it started with Joe Rogan. I listened to him or watched him on YouTube, and he is just a fascinating dude. Do you ever watch him or listen to him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He, people don't appreciate how talented he is. Especially now that I am a podcaster 3 years in, I'm like, damn, he is super freaking talented because he doesn't have any notes. I've talked to people who've been on his show. He does zero prep. He doesn't prep them. He doesn't really prep. That's it. It's so opposite than how I do it. I'm I read their book. I stalk their social media. I listen to podcast interviews they've done in the past. He does none of that. But he's truly, truly present when the people are talking, and he can hold a thought. The person will ramble on and he'll be like, okay, can we go back to that thing that you said? I'm like, how is he doing that? And then he's had some crazy people on his show. This one flat earther that I was like, I can hardly listen to this. And he was like, dude, we need to change the subject. But prior to that moment, he was just really trying to understand where that person was coming from. And I think for a lot of us, there's these subjects that are ultra triggering, that we can no longer maintain our listener status. We just wait for them to finish so we can, nail them. And he isn't like that. So I really appreciate Joe Rogan. And then the other one is Sean Stevenson of the Model Health Show. That's also kind of a show I feel like you would listen to. Yeah.
And I read his book.
Yeah, he's really good. What's interesting about him is he's an expert in his space and a good interviewer. There's a lot of podcasters who are experts in their space, and basically they don't even let their guests talk. They just show off how much they know. And Sean doesn't do that. But it also doesn't sound like he asks very leading questions either. And that's a lot tougher than people realize. So off the top of my head, those are two.
Those are two good ones. Yeah. I am a big fan of both those gentlemen. Like you said, Rogan, the thing I love about Rogan is something that he does that very few podcasters do is he will invite someone on that he does not agree with, and B, he will have an open debate. So against what they're saying. And that's very that just doesn't happen that often in the podcasting space. We invite people that agree with us, that talk in line with our niche and the direction that we're all trying to move. And he's just so sharp and so quick on his feet. It's really impressive. And that's, I love listening to his marathon 3 hours. Could you do an interview for 3 hours, Meredith? I mean,
no.
That's
first
intense.
of all, I have to pee way too often. So
how sweaty would your armpits be if you had to?
Oh my God, it would be like my whole body. It would be swamp thighs, first of all. And then it would be the pit sweat would be down to my belly button. It would be so bad. And then I'd have to pee. And then I would just get tired. That's how you know Joe Rogan is an extrovert, because ain't no introvert signing up for that business. I do 5 episodes back to back the day that I record, but they're shorter. And when they have gone longer and they're of more intense topics, I did one on Iran recently, I'm exhausted. I'm extra exhausted. I have an extrovert hangover. And so I think I might actually, approach the door of death if I had to do a 3-hour interview.
Or have to get you some electrolytes. You'd be dehydrated.
Oh,
I think we need an armpit sweatometer that you can go by to gauge how intense the interview was or how long it went or whatever. Somebody that's listening out there, let's get that technology.
Isn't that what a lie detector does?
Maybe. I don't know. I've never had one. Have you ever had a lie detector test done to you?
I swear I haven't. No. No, I haven't. That would be really interesting, though. I'm trying to lower my resting heart rate. This is so random because I think it contributes. First of all, it's for health. But second of all, I think it contributes to my sweatiness. I was about an hour before going to bed last night and we're watching a nature show, like a really cool, I love nature shows. And I find them stimulating, but it's like relaxing also. Boy, my resting heart rate was 71. 71. I'm like, what is so exciting right now that it needs to be 71? Nothing. So anyway, I digress.
That hippopotamus is ready to attack or something.
It actually was. Yeah. How'd you know?
Okay. So back to podcasting. Let's steer from hippopotami to the podcast. But I think that like I can tell that you're a fan of the art of the interview. Like you said, you model after Sean Stevenson. You're a fan of Rogan, and I can tell that you really. I mean, I know that you really put in a lot of work. So tell the audience, like, how much time does it typically take you to put together one of these things? I think they're gonna be blown away at how much time you invest in your show.
Yeah. Overall, it's about, I'd say, 20-ish hours a week. I mean, it varies. It depends on what's going on. Like this is recording week, so there's more going on, overall. But for the prepping of the interview, it either starts by having an interesting person that I'm looking at or an interesting subject I'm exploring. The subjects are harder to find to make an episode from than the person. Because the person, it's just like swipe left or right? Like it's like, you're a fit, you're not a fit, whatever. If I find a person that's interesting, then my next step is to kind of cyber stalk them a little bit, see what's going on, listen to other interviews they've done so I can get a feel for what are their talking points? Are they on a publicity tour? Like, do they talk about the same things over and over again? And I also just do like a general Google search usually because there was one guy that I was like, oh, that might be interesting. And he had all these like sexual assault allegations. So I was like, maybe not. Maybe we'll skip him. So important to use the GTS model, Google that shit. That's an important thing. And then I will cold pitch them. And then if they accept, then I will buy their book. If they have a book, often they do, and read at least half of it. And then listen to a few other interviews they've done. And then I write the intro. Oh, we do a pre-production chat, which is about 15 minutes, where we decide what we're going to talk about and dial in on lighting and sound also, because you can't assume that people are going to come to the table with good lighting and sound, even if they've done a ton of interviews, which is another reason why I do listen to their past interviews. Do they sound like they're sitting on a toilet when they're doing the interview? You know, it's like all echoey. Are they driving their car? Is there a barking dog? You know, I need to know. And then that way, when I do the pre-production chat, I'm like, and you want to put Jelly Bean in his cage so that we don't have some barking during, because I don't edit for content. So I just edit for sound quality. So what you hear with very few exceptions is what actually happened in the order that it happened. So I try to make it good out of the gate, which helps me lower costs. And it's supposed to be a less manufactured in product. So, and then for the subject matter, it's a pretty similar process once I find the person, but finding that damn person is sometimes really hard because listen, if anybody out there could come on my show and talk about Mansa Mali, the richest man to ever grace the earth out of Western Africa, I would really like to tell that story, but I can't freaking find anyone who will talk to me about that. So if you have any African history experts out there, please email me. So there we go. So there's these subjects that just stick around and I can't shake them. And I just I need to find someone. Eventually, usually someone comes into my orbit.
Oh my God. What are other topics that are on your bucket list of I need to talk about this? I'm very curious about this. Topics and or guests. Who's on Meredith's hit list?
Fecal transplant. I really want to talk about fecal transplant. And
I think I might actually, for my health days, I interviewed a guy that was a poop expert, and like it blew my audience's mind when like the thing that blew their mind was I go, okay, how many times a day are we supposed to be pooping around here? And he goes, as many times as you eat, you should have an equal amount of poops.
What?
And I was just like, it blew everyone's mind. Everyone's like, what do you mean per week? And he's like, no, per day. What? But he did talk about the transplanting stuff. Like he may know somebody but that's like, I feel like I could make some money from this. Like, I feel like I could be a donor. And I mean, how would you rate your poop donor ability?
I would be interested. I did look into it because there's this place out of Northeastern. Are you surprised? You should not be surprised. There's
into this.
I did. Well, I have been researching this for over a year, and I have found the perfect guest. He followed me on Twitter, and I'm like, check your DMs, dude. Like I've emailed like I've tried to go through proper channels, but I'm about to get stalkery on it because he has an organization that if a listener had Crohn's disease or something that would be positively treated through a transplant, he has an organization where people could actually do that. And I love guests that have a platform for actionable learning. I don't want to just I want people not to just be passively curious. I want them to be actively curious. And that involves going and do the thing if you want or need to do the thing. So yeah, I just can't get his attention, but I'm working on it. Right. And so I looked into being a donor. That's what you asked me. And yeah, I think I would have to live there though, because it's like only viable for a short amount of time. Kind of like, sperm, I think it's like 2 hours or something. It's a very short window, much like that. So not really a good plan. Can't really FedEx that.
Yeah. Mail it in. Let's go. Just go in a bag, mail it in, FedEx, see what happens. What else? What other topics are you just dying to talk about?
Those are the two that are really top of mind. I would like the other one that I'm working on is why is meditation hard? So I love to approach topics through the lens of a question. And a lot of times I even name my episodes that way, like name them as though they're a question that I imagine my audience might be asking or thinking, right? But has no one to ask it to. I feel like that's the sweet spot. And why is meditation so hard? So, I tried to get Dan Harris, the former ABC News correspondent to come on the show. Haven't heard back from him yet.
Come on, Dan.
But he would be so great because he had a panic attack on live TV. I didn't see it. I haven't had TV in a long time, so I'm a little out of the loop. But he's such a type A personality that I thought that would be really great. Like meditation, but being a fidgety person. Meditation, but being a doer and not a, meditator. So that's another hot one.
Just a quick pause to show appreciation to our sponsors. When we come back, you'll hear how I track down guests, what I think of my listeners, and how my husband and I met. If you ever wonder where I find guests for the show, the answer is it varies a lot. And since it's something that gets asked a lot, I started including the backstory of each episode in my Monday emails. And then on Saturday, I share cliff notes and clickable links in case what you heard was so good you wish you could have taken notes. If you want to be included, text REAL to 66866 if you're in the US, or go to meredithforreal.com if you're elsewhere. If you're listening north of the state of Georgia, mosquitoes are not top of mind right now. But if you're in the Florida Panhandle or Gulf Coast of Alabama, you're already dusting off your grill and citronella candles. Make life easy for future you and get your property scheduled for a mosquito treatment with Insect. I've been using them since 2019 and they continue to impress me. They guarantee their work, and pollinators are always top of mind. Check them out at ensec.net. If you watch the show on YouTube, then you see the beautiful backdrop of Trader John's, the exhibit where I record the show inside the Pensacola Museum of History. This is just one museum under the umbrella of the UWF Historic Trust. If you're planning a trip to Pensacola and need an indoor activity option, pick up a ticket. It's good for a whole week. Get your tickets in person so you can show the agent one of my emails and get $2 off an adult ticket. Now back to the show. Remember to stay till the end where I give you a sneak peek of next week's episode.
I would love to hear you have a chat with Dan.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be epic.
And he has such a very relatable way of speaking that is not at all what you would expect of someone who meditates as much as he does. And anybody who has that kind of incompatible aspect to themselves, that I'm totally drawn to. I'm drawn to in life, but I'm also drawn to it in the show because there's so much treasure in that nuance. You just have to know the right questions to ask.
All right, Dan, if you're listening, let's get you on the show.
Come on, Dan.
Maybe Dan's cousin or somebody, let's get him on. All right. What about somebody that you had to put in major work? I want to know who took the most work to get on your show and then you actually got them on your show, what that looked like.
Yeah. I would say two come to mind. Joe Watkins, who is a archaeologist who belongs to the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma that I saw on a PBS special and does not exist on the internet. Thankfully, my amazing video editor, love you, Ryan, he works at PBS. So he was able to help me track him down. And then the other one was Leon, whose last name escapes me at the moment, but we did the haunted Mexico-US border episode. And I saw him on a YouTube video made by somebody else. And I reached out to those folks and they didn't reach back out to me. I couldn't find Leon Baker. I couldn't find him on the internet. He wasn't anywhere. And so I'm Googling and I can't find him. I find the people who made that YouTube video on Instagram. I message them there, nothing. I Google him one more time and I find an article that he wrote about, or that he contributed to, he didn't even write it, about mountain biking. Turns out he's a mountain biker. So I scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and I find the editor's email address. And I emailed her and I was like, hey, listen, I'm looking for Leon Baker. He contributed 2 sentences to this article that you wrote. I'm looking for him for this reason. Can you please help connect me? She emails me back within a couple of days and says, I do have his email address. I can't give it to you, but I'll tell him that you are asking about him. Weeks go by, nothing. And I'm telling you, Adam, I'm looking for a different person because anybody can tell ghost stories about the border of Mexico. In fact, his colleague wrote a book and he is very easy to get a hold of, but I didn't feel like his colleague told the story as well as he did. He just looks like someone who's not a spooky, weird ghost person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he is definitely border patrol looking kind of dude. And I just wanted him. I couldn't let it go. So the lady emails me back again a few weeks after that. And she's like, hey, I think I found him on the internet. And I said, what? She said, yeah, I think he has this ghost touring business. Check it out. So I go to the Facebook page. There's no pictures of him. I go to their YouTube channel and I hear his voice. He's not even in the video, but I hear his voice and I'm like, that's the same guy. So I message, his story is getting so long. So I message the Facebook page and I said, hi, I'm Meredith. I'm looking for Leon Baker. This is why, da, 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 da. And he said, hi, I'm Leon. And we got him on the show.
Well, that was easy. You just had to find him on YouTube or his face doesn't exist on his YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Wow. That is a lot. How did you find the guy that ate his foot? That's my favorite episode of your show.
Yeah, that is a good.
How did that come about?
I was having coffee one morning, scrolling the internet.
I'm just imagining you thinking about eating a foot while you're drinking your coffee in the morning, and I started laughing. I apologize.
As one does, isn't that how everyone does that? And I think it was Vice, which is a popular YouTube channel that I really like. I also follow them on Instagram, and Vice posted a cartoon photo of a foot in a taco, and it said foot taco, and it just started talking about, that guy's story, and it said his Reddit handle. And so then I went to Reddit and found him and DM'd him on Reddit, and he agreed to be on the show.
Hey, foot eater. Want to come on my podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
I found one podcast episode that he made because it's really like, I don't love inviting people on the show that I haven't heard talk on a microphone before, because sometimes the story can be great, but if they don't like communicate in a great way, there's nothing I can do. And he was actually kind of philosophical, and I was like, ooh, philosophical, Andy ate his foot, gold mine.
Score.
Score.
Perfect podcast interview.
I mean, there you have it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I want to slightly pivot and talk about your audience a little bit, because I know how much you love the MFers, the Meredith for Real audience, the MFRs. Sorry, did I say MFers? The MFR.
You did.
The MFRers. We have chatted about this quite a bit when we do coaching, but like, you're kind of obsessed with interacting with them, getting them involved in the vibe of your show and things like that. What does it feel like when somebody reaches out and says they enjoy your shows? I know how good that makes me feel, but like, how does that make you feel?
It's everything. It's everything. I love it, especially when it makes like a actual difference in their life. Like if it's not just entertaining. And you know what is extra special too is when family or friends, you think like there's two different kinds. There's two different flavors of appreciation here. There's the stranger who, every once in a while I'll have like a couple of people that I don't know reach out and be like, hey, I really like this one episode and I bought their book or I downloaded their app. And that makes me feel really good because I feel like my guests give me their time, and that time is something you can never just return, right? It's the asset that once it's given, it's gone. And so I just am so appreciative of that. So that makes me so happy. And then the other side is when friends and family listen to your podcast. I mean, as a podcaster, that's not a common thing, right? Like there's a lot of podcasters out there who their wives and their, family members have never even listened to a single episode. And just recently, my uncle and his wife were like on a road trip, and they were like, we listened to you on our road trip. I'm like, why would you do that? That's so weird. But they're like, no, it was really good. And we liked how at the end of each episode, you said, if you like this episode, you'll like episode 48. And then we listened to 48 and then said, if you like that episode, you'll like episode 102. And we were like binging all your podcasts and just to hear their feedback about how they feel like I've improved from episode 48 to 170, it was really nice. It really makes me feel good. Like, I don't know. It's just like a connectedness. Like what I'm doing matters at some level, which is always good.
Yeah. Until you go to the next family reunion and your aunt and uncle that listen to your show are both wearing upside down pineapple shirts, and it gets weird.
True. From
the Swingers episode.
Adam, someone just texted me last week on like Thursday, I think. And they said, I won't say. Anyway, I was going to say what her job was, but I won't. But one of her clients sent her like a card that said, dear so-and-so, which was her, you should move to Florida. And then it has upside down pineapples on it. And she texted me a picture and she's like, do you think these people are swingers? And I was like, I don't know. Pineapple's also hospitality. So hard to tell, but yeah. So that's funny. Maybe pineapple
she's a
thing.
produce manager.
Yeah, you don't know. The pineapple swinger thing, it comes up a lot.
Oh my God, that is awesome. And no, like, yeah, when you're exactly right. When you have friends and family, that hits you a different way. When they're like, "Hey, I checked this out," it's like, wow. Like my parents check out my show or something like that. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Shout out, mom and dad. But like, do you remember the first time a random person just DM'd you or messaged you and it was like, hey, I really like your show? Do you remember what that was like? Or do you remember what happened with that one?
I don't remember. I mean, recently something like that happened where her name's Erica. She makes really cool jewelry. Shout out to Erica. And she started following me on Instagram and I followed her back. She started listening to the show. She gave me some jewelry. We met up for coffee. And then she like knew all this stuff about me. She's like, oh yeah, because you grew up religious. And I was like, oh, right. Yeah, all that's out there, isn't it? Like it just sort of struck me like, this is weird. I mean, she's not weird, but like, it just didn't really occur to me that, oh, yeah, that information is all out there. Like someone could feel like they know me, but without knowing me, which is interesting.
It is. So if a podcast listener like meets you out in the wild, like you're at a coffee shop and they go, "Hey, are you Meredith from like, I listened to your show." Like, would you describe yourself as being famous at that point? Because I've had neighbors ask me this when they find out that I'm a podcaster. They go, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, there's two reactions when people find out you're a full-time podcaster. They either think you're homeless or they think you're famous.
It's so true.
Those are the only two.
Yeah, it's true.
Homeless, famous.
Yep.
So like, I mean, what do you tell somebody that's your brand new neighbor and you tell them you're a podcaster and they think you're a big deal? Like, I know how you approach life and like, I'm not, it's not a big deal. But like, what do we say to that question? Are you famous?
I've only had one person ask me that, and she's like my friend from high school that we just recently reconnected over a podcast episode. Actually, it was a lot of fun. And I was like, nah, girl, no. So that was the end of that. But I usually just tell people like I'm a media producer because I don't want to explain what a podcaster is. Sometimes I do. It depends on my mood. I also don't tell people I'm a model because nobody likes models. So when I, like,
I'm kind of a big deal.
Like when people are like, "Oh, where were you last week?" I'll be like, "Oh, I was working on a project out of town." No, I was on a photo shoot for a week, but I don't want to say that. So I have different ways of communicating that isn't lying. But it just depends on how deeply I want to get into it. But then if I'm a podcaster, usually they're like, "Oh, what's your show about?" And I'll tell them, and then I'll say, "Do you listen to podcasts?" And then we usually have a really cool conversation about. I would like to know what podcasts other people are listening to, And sometimes they pull out their phone and subscribe. I'm always really impressed when that happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the best. And I always be like, "Hey, don't forget to leave a rating review. Or just give me your phone. I'll do it."
Just give me your phone. Yeah.
Those are all my rating reviews. Like, what a voice and very handsome. And that's I wrote it.
Adam's in Best Buy rating and reviewing his show on all the open devices.
That's one of my tricks. You go to Target, you go to Best Buy, subscribe on every device, and that's we get those ratings up. I feel like you're on a parallel career trajectory as Ron Burgundy from Anchorman. Like you're a model, you're a media producer. You have many leather-bound books. I mean, it's just
my office smells of mahogany.
Yeah. All right. I got some rapid fire questions that are just kind of random.
Let's do
just
it.
to get to know Meredith a little bit better. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You good to go?
Yeah.
Not sweating yet? Are you sweating pretty good? Or we are?
Not too bad. But look,
Okay,
the sweater has holes in it. So
ventilation. That's key.
Yeah.
That's key. All right. Dogs, cats, neither or both. What do you got?
Dogs. Oh, I don't have any. I have nothing. I have lizards.
What do you prefer?
Oh, I prefer dogs. And by lizards, I really just mean there's animals that live outside my house and I call them mine and I talk to them.
Lizards are gross and they're full of diseases.
No, lizards are amazing. I love my little lizard babies. No, and we have an owl too. Our neighborhood is so strange. It's not in the country, but it is filled with like hawks and owls and lizards and opossums. We have flying squirrels and tree frogs, and occasionally we'll see a gecko. That's really exciting. So yeah, I love nature, to live in nature, and then I can go out in nature and appreciate the animals there instead of having to be in charge of animals in my house.
She's like Ace Ventura, pet detective. Mm-hmm. So, well, I'll work on that. My new abilities with the AI. I may be able to slap your face on Ace Ventura surrounded by animals.
Okay.
I think that'll be my project for the afternoon. All right, onward march. Audiobooks or in real life books?
Real life.
What do you prefer?
Real life paper books.
Nice. What are you reading right now?
I am reading Your Life for Your Money by Vicki Robin, also in your wheelhouse. She's the mother of the FIRE movement. She was a guest, and I did read, half of the book before we got started, and I just feel like that book is calling to me. And so I keep reading it, and I just love it. It's really good.
It's excellent. It is an excellent book, and that was an excellent interview.
Thank you.
Okay. Name a movie that you are slightly embarrassed of being a fan of. It could be any movie from any era.
Movie from any era. I don't sit still for movies very well. It has gotten better. I don't know if I'm embarrassed by this, but I do kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
There's no like Twilight or Footloose or
Nope.
any of that stuff.
I've never seen The Notebook. I've never seen A Beautiful Mind. I've never seen. I keep falling asleep during Titanic. Like all the typical girl movies, for lack of a better description. Yeah, I just don't do well with them. But I love James Bond movies, and I love the the Oceans movies and the Bourne Identity movies. Those ones.
Oh, nice.
I love. Yeah.
Nice. All right. What kind of a student were you in high school?
A shitty one.
Like what kind of GPA are we talking about?
It was actually not a bad overall GPA. I was good for Iowa standardized testing. I was off the charts in English and communication. And then for math, I'm not being funny. I probably qualified for an IEP, an individualized education plan. I just struggled really badly. So I took geometry twice. I took algebra 1 twice. I was supposed to have algebra 2 to graduate high school. I think the counselor's office got tired of me asking for help, and they just let me graduate anyway. So... yeah.
Oh, man. If there are any math majors out there, Meredith needs a tutor and an accountant. So just be ready. Be ready. All right. Final question. We haven't talked about them yet. Who initiated the relationship, you or your husband?
Ooh, it was my husband.
Like what was he like giving you the vibe at a club? Like what? Tell us the quick story.
Adam, how long have we been friends? Do I seem like a club person? No.
I mean, who knows? Who knows?
No, we all know. It's not a mystery. I'm not a club person. No, I was at the beach. I was on vacation by myself, visiting my grandmother, and my grandmother and I were on the beach, and he was skimboarding. And even though I'm from Nebraska, I skimboard, or I used to skimboard. And so I kind of noticed he was skimboarding. And then I was building a sandcastle, and he walked up and he said, "Hey, nice sandcastle." I said, "Thanks." And he said, "You should build a moat." I go, "Oh, okay." Well, I didn't know he was in civil engineering. And so he said, "No, really, I know what I'm talking about. You really need a moat." And I was like, "Okay." And then he continued to walk by and went all the way back to his car and got 2 business cards, came back and came up to me and he said, "Hey, I don't do this often, but I'm Garrett." Handed me the card. "You should email me sometime." And then proceeded to give one to my grandmother. And of course, he's from here, Southern, so my grandmother, who's also from here, Southern lady, she just thought like marrying a Southern man would solve all my problems. Like that is why my first marriage didn't work in her mind, was because he was a Northerner. So anyway, that's how we met. I friend zoned him for quite some time. We stayed friends long distance, and then we dated long distance, and then I moved here, and then we got married a few years after that.
Wow. That's an awesome story. And what a power move, like giving the business card to grandma.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I like Garrett that much more now. Well done. Well done. G-Man. All right. So we found out quite a bit about young Meredith, podcasting Meredith, rapid fire Meredith. And I just want to wrap up congratulating you on creating this media company, like doing this thing that you're doing. For those of you that aren't in the podcasting space, most podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. Like we're talking like 80% of podcasters do not make it past 10 episodes. So the fact that Meredith is cranking out regular, consistent content year after year, episode after episode, it's a really big deal. And she loves doing this. I can tell you all that you are all near and dear to her heart. She's doing this for you. She's not thinking, what do I get out of this? She thinks, what do I get to give from this? And that's why we're all MFers out there. We're fans. We're fans. So Meredith, as we close up, I'll congratulate you. And I'll hand the reins back over to you. It's been really fun taking over your show, though.
Well, thank you. You did a great job. This is super fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I knew I could trust you, so I wasn't really afraid. I was just being silly. But I would love for you to shout out kind of your socials, and maybe, I get a lot of podcasting questions. A lot of people email me or message me about like, "Hey, you have a podcast. How do I start a podcast?" And I love that, because I love like helping people create new stuff. I think it's really exciting. But you are way more equipped than I to help those people do that thing. And so I would love for them to know how they can like engage with you to find that community and get a little bit of know-how also.
Yeah. Well, you guys can check out my show, Podcasting Business School. That's always a great place to start. And if you want to hit me up in the DMs, just go to Instagram and look for Podcasting Business School and let's get a conversation started. I love to show people how to create a podcast, but take that and use it to grow a business or start a business and interact with people and create engaged super fans and all the cool things that come with podcasting. So yeah, I'd love to hang out.
Awesome. Thank you again. This was great.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for listening. Did you think of someone you know while you listened? Help me grow the show by sharing this episode with that person. There's a share button right on your podcast app. If you listen on Podcast Addict, it's the little molecule-looking symbol at the top right corner of the screen when you're on any episode. And if you liked this episode, you'll also like the episode where my friend Chris Poore interviews me, and we talk about a strip club funeral and what it means to be an authentic paradox. It's episode 112. Stay tuned next week when I talk with a couple who retired at age 29 on average incomes as they share tips on retiring early.